Really a big fight here against Alex Caceres. Was this the type of opponent you wanted in your second UFC fight?
Yeah, I definitely I'm here to kind of take the slow route for sure, but I also kind of want to test myself. Obviously, getting a first round finish, I kind of showed my style. And, I feel like I've been optimizing myself since the fight, and I feel like this is a good matchup stylistically for me. And, the way that I've kind of marketed myself at this point, it's kind of harder to get those, I guess, lower tier fights. So I think I got to kind of take what I can get. But again, at the end of the day, I'd rather take a fight against another high level dude that's pretty well known rather than, against someone that's super tough, but not as well known and would be a little more detrimental if I were to, not do as well or to struggle.
You have a lot of wins by submission, and that's sort of Caceres' game. How do you feel like your ground game matches up against his? I know he's got 17 more fights than you, but you must feel pretty confident if it does go to the mat.
Yeah, I mean, I have yet to run into somebody that I've fought that's had better jiu-jitsu or grappling in general than me, so I'm always pretty confident going in there. But I know that he's a veteran. He trains with some top-tier guys, so he's obviously going to be pretty scrambly. He's going to be probably hard to hold down, hard to take down. But, it's UFC. I'm not here for easy fights. I'm here for, trying to see how far I can go.
How did camp go? Because I know initially you were supposed to, or you were linked to fighting on that San Diego card. I know when we last spoke, you mentioned that camp was going well. Safe to say, that sort of continued after this, so you had a pretty good camp?
Yeah, camp's been phenomenal, actually. Even though it's been hard with all the Corona stuff, obviously, to train. I'm sure you're not from everybody, but we've been getting in more quality versus quantity training. So instead of training 6 hours a day, I'm training more 2 or 3, but hard hours of good cardio, good technique, super focused. I'm feeling phenomenal. Probably the best shape I've been in my life. So.
And my last question is a two-parter. Have you been mistaken for Sean O'Malley this week? And if not, what does it mean to fight on a card with him? Because that is kind of cool. One of the cool things heading into this fight.
I think that the way that he changed his hair up, I don't think we'll get mistaken too much coming up here. But yeah, it's cool to be fighting on a card with another high-level guy. He seems super cool. From the interactions I've had with him, I talked with him a little bit. He seems kind of down with the whole Aspen family thing, and yeah, it's cool. I'm excited to watch his fight. It's going to be a good one. So, and they're back to back. So as soon as mine's over, then he's up. It's going to be a lot of Afro action in the cage that night.
Thanks for the time, Chase. Best of luck on Saturday.
Yeah, thanks.
We will take our next question from Ezekiel Berganzi with Super Luchas.
Chase, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Fine, thanks. How do you feel fighting with such a young age in your second fight on a UFC pay-per-view in this context? What's going through your mind right now?
For me, this is, obviously trying to prove myself even more that I belong in UFC. Because I've only had one fight, and I'm already fighting a super veteran. But I feel I don't feel too different than I usually do. I feel pretty calm. I feel pretty excited to go. Everything's going well camp-wise, so I feel fantastic about all that stuff. But I'm always used to being the younger guy. I'm always used to being the less experienced guy. My third professional fight, I took it on 2 hours' notice against a guy with, 15 fights. So it's not the first time I've done something like this. Fighting was such a big experience gap. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good time.
And what do you think about Alex Caceres as an opponent? Do you have the chance to study him, to watch his game? And what do you think it will be the key factor to beat him, to fight him?
Yeah, so I like this matchup style-wise because he's very flashy on the feet, whereas I'm very flashy with the grappling stuff. So it's going to be both of us trying to kind of counter each other's games. And I just think that he's not a huge finisher. He's not a huge knockout guy. It's not like the last guy I fought where he's, a world champion kickboxer. And I'm scared that he's going to, knock me out the whole time. For me, it's more, I got to chase after him. I got to get a hold of him, obviously, and keep it from going 15 minutes. I feel like he's more of a point fighter. He wants to, do some flashy stuff and try to, put on a show. But that's going to be my job to counter it, and I think my game will work pretty well against his.
And where did you focus on your game in the camp? Like, where do you train more your striking or more the ground? What can you tell us about that?
All the grappling stuff is always my number one goal. It's the easiest way for me to win, especially against a guy like this who's not necessarily a huge grappler. Obviously, he has skills. That's why he's in the UFC. But I did a lot of cardio stuff because I know that he's a guy that likes to go the distance. He has no problem going all 3 rounds. So I want to be able to, keep up like a high pressure, high pace fight for those 15 minutes and just kind of make the most of it. So that way I don't just get, outscored, and that way I can, make a statement.
Hey, thanks, Chase. Good luck on Saturday.
And we will take the next question from Augusto German-Nies-Gay with Somos MMA.
Hi Chase, how are you? How's everything going?
Everything's good.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. I want to know, as the youngest UFC athlete, how are you living your second fight week with all this coronavirus thing? Because I imagine that maybe in the first one, the emotions were stronger, so what has changed since then?
Honestly, I feel like this has been probably the most laid back fight week I've ever had. Obviously, with them not wanting us to leave the hotel too much and to not, to try not to get sick. There's nothing to do in Vegas. Everything is dead. We've just been kind of hanging out at the hotel. It's been great. My weight's coming down. I'm able to work out the whole week, which the last camp I didn't have enough energy, but this time I, did a smarter weight cut, and I've been able to work out hard the whole week. I've been feeling fantastic. And honestly, same thing as I was for the last fight. I'm just excited to go out there and see if I can kind of, work my game against his and show that I belong in the UFC. I'm just having a good time and enjoying myself.
And what about the smaller cage? What do you think about that? Have you seen that? Do you have it into consideration in your game plan?
Yeah, so that was actually the cage. I'm guessing not the same exact cage, but it's the same one that I fought in Contender size, at least. So I'm already kind of used to that. And again, I'm fighting a guy who tries to stay more on the outside. He tries to, kind of hit and move, be super, in and out. He tries to run away a little more, so I have to chase it down. It'd be a lot easier in a cage that's, 5 feet smaller. I think that benefits me.
And what about fighting in an empty arena? That's something that can be a factor in the fight, or you don't think so?
Again, it's like Contender. It's a super small, intimate space. It's just pretty much the bare minimum that they need to run the show. So I'm not really worried about that. Like Contender Series, it was like silent on the walkout. Because everybody was allowed to bring 4 people. So that's 48 people in the venue, and that's it. So I'm kind of used to that. I don't really care. Like, I can't really hear anything when I get in there. It's all kind of muffled, besides my coach, obviously. It might make it easier to hear him and to hear the other guy's coach. So we'll see. I think it'll be a good time. I don't think I'll be affected by it too much.
Okay, thank you very much, and best of luck on Saturday.
And are you looking to do some submission skills? And like Alex have the most losses with 7 submission out of 12. And are you looking to finish in the first round with submission or something like that?
Yeah, obviously that's my go-to, being that I'm a grappler mainly. So I always want to, get there and kind of show off my skills as far as that goes. I always try to not necessarily go into fights expecting to finish in the first round. I always go out there and fight hard, but I'm always trying to pace myself and expect to go, all 3 rounds, all 15 minutes, and that's just kind of the way I try to approach the fight. But if I see him hurt, if I see an option, then I'll just kind of go for it as hard as I can. So.
And my last question is this a kind of different to train with COVID-19, or is this a normal day in your training day?
Right now it is. Actually, it's even better than it usually is for fight weeks. Because here at the hotel, we have our own workout room, we have our own sauna, we have all the stuff that we need to weight cut. So everything can be done from here, which I'm not necessarily used to. Like, most of the time when you travel somewhere, I guess unless it's UFC, because they always kind of provide a workout room, you usually have to figure out somewhere to work out, like, go outside and be like right next to the swimming pool with some shoes on, hitting some mitts, and that's about it. But here, having like a full setup, it's great. It's definitely been the coolest fight week I've had so far, and I'm looking forward to Saturday.
Thank you so much.